Imagine you are navigating a beautiful sunlit sea in a sturdy vessel. The connection feels real, the destination seems clear, and the compass in your hand points steadily toward a shared future. The words, "I love you," may have been spoken, acting as a north star in your emotional sky. And then suddenly, without warning, the compass begins to spin wildly. The sky clouds over, the north star vanishes. This is the feeling, the profound emotional vertigo, that a woman experiences when a man she loves, a man who says he loves her, begins to pull away. It is perhaps the most confusing and painful paradox in the landscape of the human heart. How can love and distance coexist in the same person? How can a man who looks at you with such depth one day create a cold and empty space the next? The immediate, instinctual reaction is to look for the cause within yourself. You retrace every step, analyze every word, dissect every interaction, asking the torturous question, what did I do wrong? You become the detective in a crime scene where the only suspect is you. But what if this is not a crime you have committed? What if you are not the cause of the storm, but merely a witness to a hurricane that has been raging within him all along? What if his withdrawal has nothing to do with a decrease in his love, and everything to do with a terrifying increase in its intensity? This video will provide the one profound psychological reason for this paradox, a reason rooted in the deep and often hidden workings of the masculine psyche as mapped by Jung. We will explore the sacred and terrifying moment when a man's love becomes so real that it threatens his very sense of self. This is not a lesson in how to fix his behavior. It is a journey into a deep, compassionate understanding of it, so that you may be freed from the chains of self-blame. And from that place of freedom, you will learn how to respond not with panic, but with the quiet, unshakable wisdom of a lighthouse, waiting for the ship to find its way home. Let us now name the storm. The psychological reason a man will often pull away from a woman he genuinely loves is not because his love is decreasing. It is because the love has become so powerful, so real, that it has triggered the single greatest fear of the human ego, the terror of a soul-level merger. To understand this, we must first understand the two different kinds of love that the psyche can experience: ego love and soul love. Ego love is safe. It is a relationship of two separate, well-defined entities. It is transactional. The ego loves the way the other person makes it feel, the status the relationship provides, the needs that are met. In ego love, the other person is a cherished object, a beautiful addition to the ego's kingdom. The boundaries are clear, the walls of the castle are high, and the king remains in complete control of his domain. Most relationships begin, and in fact, remain at this level. It is a comfortable and predictable arrangement. Soul love is different. It is dangerous. It is not about addition, it is about dissolution. Soul love is the force that begins to dissolve the hard boundaries between you and me. It is a call to merge, to surrender, to become part of something larger than your individual self. It is a relational field where your vulnerabilities meet his, where your souls begin to intertwine, where the fate of your kingdom becomes inextricably linked to the fate of his. This is the love that transforms, the love that heals, the love that the deepest part of us craves, and it is the love that the ego perceives as a threat to its very existence. For the man who has built his identity on the foundations of independence, control, and self-reliance, the arrival of true soul-level love is a seismic event. The woman he loves ceases to be a beautiful object he can admire from the safety of his castle walls. Her presence, her soul, becomes like a vast, beautiful, and terrifying ocean, rising to the shores of his well-ordered kingdom. His ego, the king, panics. It looks at this ocean of connection, and it does not see a promise. It sees a threat. It fears being drowned, being consumed, losing the solid ground of its own sovereignty. The very love that his soul craves, his ego experiences as an impending death. And so, he pulls away. His withdrawal is a panicked, instinctual reaction. It is the king pulling his troops back from the shoreline, desperately trying to re-establish the old, safe, separate boundaries of his own identity. He is not running away from you. He is running away from the profound, terrifying, and beautiful dissolution of himself that your love represents. He pulls away not because he loves you less, but because he has realized on an unconscious level just how much he loves you. And that realization terrifies the part of him that has always found its safety in being alone. To truly grasp the gravity of this inner conflict, we must journey deeper into the symbolic landscape of the psyche, using the map gifted to us by Carl Jung. The terror a man feels is not just a simple fear. It is a profound archetypal drama. It is the story of the king and his fear of being consumed by the ocean. In the psyche of a mature man, there exists the archetype of the king. The king is not to be confused with the tyrant who rules through fear and control, or the prince who is still a boy, seeking his own identity through adventure and conquest. The king is the sovereign, integrated masculine. He has built a kingdom, the kingdom of his own conscious identity, his ego. This kingdom is his life as he knows it. His career, his habits, his friendships, his logical structures, his sense of self. It is a world of solid ground, of defined borders, of predictable laws. The king's greatest strength and his greatest source of safety is the order and the stability of this land he has so carefully built. But every kingdom of land has a shoreline, and beyond that shore lies the vast, mysterious, and untamable ocean. In the Jungian landscape, the ocean is the ultimate symbol of the Anima, the feminine soul, the world of feeling, of intuition, of the unconscious, of love itself. The Anima is not logical. It does not follow the laws of the kingdom. It has its own tides, its own hidden depths, its own unpredictable storms, and its own breathtaking beauty. It is the world of eros, of connection, of the soul. For a long time, the king may admire the ocean from the safety of his castle walls. He may be fascinated by its beauty, even sail its surface in the sturdy ships of casual dating and superficial relationships. But when true, soul-level love arrives, it is not a ship sailing on the ocean. It is the ocean itself, rising. The waters of the Anima, of true feeling and connection, begin to lap at the very foundations of his kingdom. And the king panics. He, the master of the solid ground, is faced with a force he cannot command, a depth he cannot measure, a power he cannot control. He looks at this rising ocean of love, and a primal archetypal fear is triggered, the fear of the flood. The fear of his carefully constructed kingdom, his very sense of self, being dissolved, consumed, and washed away by the immense, powerful, and mysterious feminine sea. His withdrawal is the king pulling his armies back from the shoreline. It is the desperate attempt to build a seawall against the rising tide of his own heart. He is not running away from you, the woman. He is a land king, terrified of the ocean you represent. He is pulling away from the profound surrender that true love demands, the surrender of his solo reign, the dissolution of his rigid boundaries, and the terrifying, beautiful invitation to learn to swim in the infinite waters of a shared soul. This is not a simple fear of commitment. It is the ego's archetypal terror of surrendering its illusion of absolute control. Now, we arrive at the most painful and tragic part of this dynamic. The king is retreating from the shore, terrified of the ocean of his own feelings, and the woman, seeing the man she loves pull away, makes a common, understandable, and completely disastrous mistake. She tries to use logic to solve a problem of the soul. Her own anxiety is triggered, her fear of abandonment awakens, and in her panic, she reaches for the tools she knows best: words, reasons, and the relentless pursuit of a logical explanation. She initiates the talk. She asks the question that seems so reasonable, yet is so destructive in this moment. Why are you being so distant? Just tell me what's wrong. She presents her case, full of evidence of their happy moments, trying to prove to him, logically, that his withdrawal makes no sense. She is, with the best of intentions, making it worse. Let us return to our metaphor. The king has retreated from the rising ocean of his Anima. And her response, her logical pursuit, is the equivalent of sending a fleet of warships into that very ocean. Her questions are the cannonballs. Her need for a reason is the demand for his unconditional surrender. She believes she is trying to build a bridge, but he experiences it as an invasion. She is not speaking the language of the soul, which is what is needed in this moment. She is speaking the language of the ego, of logos, the very force from which he is trying to take refuge. Her logical pursuit is gasoline on the fire of his fear. It reinforces his deepest unconscious terror, that this love, this connection, will in fact consume him, that it is a force that will demand, dissect, and try to control his inner world. He pulled away because he felt he was drowning, and her response is to send a search party that, to his panicked mind, looks like an enemy fleet. And so, he retreats even further, building his sea walls even higher. This is a clash of languages. He is in a profound non-verbal and irrational state of eros-based panic. She is trying to reach him with logos-based reason. It is like shouting in English at a man who is in the middle of a beautiful, terrifying dream. A dream in which he only understands the language of symbols and feelings. Her words do not soothe him. They are a harsh noise that threatens to wake him from a process his soul desperately needs to navigate on its own. The common mistake is to believe this is a problem that can be talked through. It is not. It is a state that must be held. The woman who continues to push with logic and questions, no matter how loving her intent, is siding with his ego against his soul. She is, in that moment, becoming another voice that tells him his feelings are irrational and need to be controlled. And in doing so, she unwittingly becomes a part of the problem he is trying to escape, not the sanctuary he so desperately needs. To truly help, she must abandon the tools of logic and learn the sovereign response of stillness. If the common mistake is to meet his internal storm with a storm of your own, then the sovereign response is to become the calm in that storm. This is the moment you stop reacting to his fear and instead provide a silent, powerful invitation back to safety. This requires you to shift from a place of panicked action to one of profound intentional being. The practice is to stop being the wave and to become the lighthouse. Let us explore this powerful metaphor. The man who is pulling away is like a ship that has lost its bearings in a sudden thick fog. The fog is his own fear, his ego's terror of the vast ocean of love. He is disoriented, and his instinct is to drop anchor and stop moving, lest he crash against the rocks. The woman who reacts with pursuit and logic becomes another wave in his storm. Her anxious questions, her need for reassurance, her attempts to talk it through, these are the waves that crash against the hull of his ship. They do not guide him, they add to the chaos. They push him further out to sea, confirming his unconscious fear that this connection is a dangerous and overwhelming storm. The lighthouse is a different kind of power. A lighthouse does not chase the lost ship. It does not shout directions across the water. It does not send a rescue party. It does something far more simple and far more profound. It does three things. First, it holds its ground. The lighthouse is built upon solid rock, unmovable and deeply anchored. The sovereign response is to anchor yourself in the solid ground of your own life and your own self-worth. This means you do not chase him into the fog. You do not send a barrage of texts. You do not call, asking for reassurance. You consciously and lovingly pull your energy back from the problem of his distance and reinvest it in the certainty of your own being. Second, it emits a steady light. The lighthouse does not flicker erratically. Its light is not a frantic, panicked beam searching for the ship. It is a calm, consistent, and reliable glow. Your light is the joyful, authentic evidence of your own full life. You continue to tend to your sacred garden. You continue to laugh with your friends. You continue to pursue your passions. You continue to be the architect of your own world. Your light is the signal you send into the fog that says, I am still here, I am whole, I am at peace. My happiness is not dependent on you finding your way back to shore. Third, it trusts the light. This is the most difficult and most crucial part of the practice. The lighthouse keeper must trust that her light is enough. She must trust that the captain of the ship is capable, and that if he is to return, he will use her light as his guide. The sovereign woman must trust that her calm, non-demanding, and peaceful presence is the most powerful invitation he could ever receive. She lets go of the need to rescue him. She releases the desire to control the outcome. She simply stands in her own power and shines. This is the sovereign response. It is not passive. It is an act of profound, active trust. By becoming the lighthouse, you are creating the ultimate safe harbor. You are communicating to his panicked nervous system in the only language it can understand. The storm is in you, not in me. When you are ready, there is a safe place to return. When you embody the energy of the lighthouse, when you respond to his storm with your own unshakable calm, you are doing more than just managing a difficult moment. You are creating a powerful, great filter. Your sovereign response becomes the ultimate unspoken test of his character, his courage, and his readiness for a soul-level connection. His next move, in the face of your steady light, will reveal everything. There are only two possible outcomes. Outcome A, the return to shore. The man who is truly on a path of growth, the man whose soul genuinely recognizes yours, will eventually respond to your light. He may sit in his fog for a while, wrestling with his own fears. But the consistent, non-demanding warmth of your presence will begin to do its work. Your peace will calm his panic. Your light will give him a point of reference. He will realize that the storm is not coming from you, it is coming from within him. Your stillness gives him the space he needs to confront his own fear of the ocean, and so he will begin to turn the ship. It may not be a sudden, dramatic change. It will be a quiet, deliberate navigation. He will start to move out of the fog and back toward your shore. His return will be different from his previous presence. It will be more humble, more intentional, more real. He may not have the words to explain his withdrawal, but his actions will speak of a newfound respect and a conscious desire to re-engage, this time with more honesty. He has seen that your peace is real, that your world does not collapse without him, and this makes you, in his eyes, not just a partner, but a source of profound strength and safety. He has chosen to face the ocean because you have shown him there is a safe harbor to return to. Outcome B, the exile into the fog. There is another possibility. The man whose fear of the ocean is greater than his desire for connection will make a different choice. Your steady light in the distance will be too much for his ego to bear. It is a reminder of a journey he is not yet brave enough to take. The safety of your shore feels more terrifying to him than the familiar chaos of his own inner fog. And so, he will choose the fog. He will turn his ship and sail away from your light, deeper into his own confusion and avoidance. He may disappear completely. He may find another partner who is willing to play the game of the ego, to live on the surface, to never challenge him to face the depths. His withdrawal becomes permanent. He has failed the test. And here we arrive at the most important, most liberating reframe of all. In either of these outcomes, you win. If he returns, you win, because you receive a partner who has been tested by his own fears and has consciously chosen to move toward you, to do the work of building a real connection. And if he sails away, you win even more. You are quickly and clearly freed from a man who was fundamentally incapable of meeting you on the level of the soul. You have not wasted months or years of your life trying to coax a land king into the ocean. Your sovereign response, your lighthouse, has served as a divine filter, gently and efficiently removing from your life that which was not meant for it. You are left not with heartbreak, but with the priceless gift of clarity and the sacred, peaceful solitude of your own steady shore. We began this journey in the heart of a confusing paradox, the pain of a man pulling away from the very love he claims to feel. We have traveled through the inner kingdom of his psyche, witnessed the archetypal battle between the king and the ocean, and discovered the profound and sovereign response of the lighthouse. And so we arrive at the final liberating truth. The reason he pulls away is, most often, a reflection of his own inner war, not a verdict on your worth. His fear of the ocean of love is his to navigate, and your greatest power lies not in trying to calm his seas, but in learning to be the unshakable keeper of your own light. The ultimate purpose of becoming the lighthouse was never to control the outcome, to guarantee his return. That would simply be another, more subtle form of the old game of force. The true purpose of this practice is to give yourself the most precious gift of all, the gift of clarity. By standing in your own power, by holding your own ground and shining your own light, you force the truth of the connection to be revealed. Either he is a man who is brave enough to sail toward the light, or he is a man who is still too afraid of the journey. And in that clarity, you are set free. A lighthouse does not worry about which ships decide to come to its shore. It is not diminished if a ship chooses to sail away into the fog. Its purpose is not to chase, to beg, or to convince. Its purpose is singular, sacred, and sovereign: to shine.